Good morning, it's October 11th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. And if you enjoy the podcast, please hit the subscribe button. Now, we've all heard the term, hell hath no fury like a scorned woman. Well, having spent my whole life in politics, I can give you a similar term, and that's hell hath no fury like a scorned politician. Now, we know how Joe Biden feels. I think we all know by now that Joe Biden did not withdraw from the presidential race willingly. He was pressured by the elites of the Democratic Party, and there were strong rumors that they threatened him with a 25th Amendment action. But in Joe Biden's mind, as it is with most people who are suffering with some form of cognitive decline, he was still strong in mind and body, and he was the best choice to stay in the race and defeat Donald Trump. Over and over, he told us he was the guy to win in November. He ignored what the entire country saw in that infamous debate last June. Well, I knew Joe pretty well during my years in Washington, D.C. I can still remember having my youngest daughter with me on a Take Your Daughter to Work day, and Joe telling her to please remember him when she was the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee. We all laughed, but that little girl is now a prominent lawyer in Alexandria, Virginia. She has no interest in running for office, but she does have her eye on the bench. As we get closer to the election, it appears that the glow that Kamala Harris basked in after being coronated as the Democratic candidate is now dimming. She flounders when asked some of the most basic questions, and even some of her cheerleaders in the media are befuddled by her lack of ability to answer some of those questions. Even on CNN, a decidedly pro-Harris outlet, they were baffled and bemused by her lack of preparation when asked what she would do different. Simply saying that she would not do anything different and was in the room for all the important decisions is not gaining her points on the campaign trail. So now here we are inside of 30 days for the election, and early voting has already started. Democratic insiders are getting nervous. Mark Halperin, who's a political analyst, said this week that both Democrats and Republicans believe former President Trump's chances of winning the election are looking strong after seeing recent private polling data. He pointed out that a poll conducted by Senator Tammy Baldwin, Democrat in Wisconsin, who's locked in her own close Senate race, she found that Harris is down by 3 points to Trump in Wisconsin. And that's a must-win state for Harris. The news is just as bad in Michigan, where another Senate race is tightening and Trump is gaining momentum. Halperin summed up the race by saying, quote, "For you Harris people on here complaining that we're talking about problems in the Harris campaign, you're welcome to put your head in the sand about it. If you want to go to watch MSNBC primetime and hear how great things are going for the Harris campaign, you're welcome. But if you want to understand what's actually happening, we're here to tell you. I just saw some new private polling today, and that's very robust private polling. She's in a lot of trouble," end quote. Okay, we're starting to get the picture that the Harris tactic of avoiding the media, not taking tough questions, and simply offering up weak platitudes on her philosophy is not getting the traction her team would hope for. So what does that all mean to Joe Biden? Should Kamala Harris fall in defeat, President Biden becomes a man both wronged by a political establishment and righteous for being the one man, in his mind, who could defeat the GOP nominee. Here's the President of the United States, and he's been put on the back burner and is truly a lame duck. In his rare public appearances, the President is attempting to transition into political retirement as an elder statesman, and he's almost always doing so far removed from the instructions of his teleprompter. His newfound rhetoric is far removed from his infamous verbal dumpster diving of the Biden-Trump debate, and the vast majority of his presidency, if you want to be honest. He's now linking arms with supporters of the one-time, quote, threat to democracy, reframing his legacy as Scranton Joe, the bipartisan blue-collar president. He never once engaged in such deliberate bipartisan appeals, on or off script, for his entire presidency. Well, this week, Kamala Harris castigated former President Trump, along with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and other political leaders who claimed, according to her, she was not taking her phone calls about hurricanes. Biden, on the other hand, he basically threw her under the bus, took to praising the Republican governors for their response and engaged in the preparedness, and even said that Ron DeSantis was gracious. And I can assure you there's some lingering animosity between the Biden clan about how he was forced to withdraw. Jill Biden, she demands to be called Dr. Biden, had no intentions of voluntarily leaving the White House. She was enjoying the perks of being the First Lady. Remember, she was the one in the post-debate party that kept telling everyone, including Joe himself, how great he was in the debate, how he answered all the questions. Of course, nobody believed what she was saying, but she said it anyway. And if Kamala Harris loses next month, you can be sure the claws will come out as the Biden supporters will make it clear they thought Joe would win. They will be delusional, but it won't stop them from making the point. A Harris loss could drag down several Senate races, and then there'll be strong recriminations from others in the party. And the real fight will begin over who will be the nominee in 2028, and Joe Biden will be that politician scorned, and he will be furious. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.